go. Interesting. Interesting. All right, now we're live. Let's get it. I know this is a fishing channel, but I'm trying to get y'all to go over and subscribe to Nick the Natty, my training channel that I'm trying to start. Can't go live until I get at least 50 of y'all to subscribe. If you could do that, that'd be much appreciated. Right now I'm just warming up. You always want to warm up and just get those joints moving before you get into some heavier weight. That's how you avoid injury. And never go too heavy. Never. You do not want to go too heavy. All right. I love these for the shoulders. I like to isolate one arm at a time. You isolate just one arm, you can focus on making that mind-muscle connection. And when you're using two, I feel like you kind of balance it out, make a rhythm. You just have one. It's kind of nice. And some of us only have a single cable pulley to work with. Welcome in, welcome in. Switch over to the left arm. Again, I'm just on here going live for the fitness, trying to get people to go over to Nick the Natty. Should be a description in or link in the description. I had an issue when I went live, so I don't know how well my description transferred over. I had to like restart the live. All right, let's hang for a second. Again, get a nice stretch. Let your tendons and joints warm up. Always remember that if your tendons are telling you, if you're feeling pain in your joints when you're lifting weight, that's another reason to know you're lifting too heavy. All right, we'll up the weight a little bit. Bring this bad boy down. Use some skull crushers. All right, I like to do them on the floor like this, simply just because you get way more leverage. And you can handle so much more weight. Right now, I'm just isolating and working my upper back. That's the only thing I'm really training. Of course, arms are getting it a little bit. But again, just want to isolate that movement and try to get a mind-muscle connection where you literally feel the exact muscles you're trying to use. Because believe it or not, when you're exercising, a lot of these exercises, you can cheat and use as other muscle groups. Like when you're doing the rows, the rope straight down like this, it's supposed to isolate and just move your arms. You'll see some people coming like this. And you're cheating when you do that. Same with pretty much any other movement. All right. Gonna bump up to some heavier weight in a second. But you'll be stuck on like 10, 15 pounds with these ones for a year and a half, because this is just hitting that rear delt right here. That's all it's targeting. And this is like one of the hardest muscles to grow. It's one of the hardest muscles to target. And it is one of like the weakest muscles as far as whenever you're like pushing some weight. But once you get those rear deltoids starting to build up a little bit, it really changes the way your back and your physique looks. It gives you way more of that tapered look. See, right now I'm cheating a little bit. See how I kind of turned in to get it and then come out? That's cheating. Instead of just keeping it straight and going straight out. And you can cheat a little bit as you're getting fatigued. Like, that's okay. That's not a big deal. What's going on, Owen? How you doing, brother? Oh, I will, man. I'm on 5 years now training natural. Went through a plethora of injuries. And sorry, I got the comments over here on the screen so I can see it easier. But I'm still working through it. You know, we all deal with a little bit of that body dysmorphia. Like, I'm sitting here looking at myself. I'm like, oh, no, I look disgusting. But anyways, yeah, stay at it. Keep with it. That's all we can do. All right, what's next? I think now we'll get a little bit of the chest. And I'm blessed. I got a cable pulley machine at home. And I know a lot of us don't. I found this one on Facebook Marketplace. Believe it or not, for $500. And I had to get it. Pulling just the 50 pounds on each side. Oh, that's 60. I love this for chest. The flies, I feel like, because when you can get like such a good stretch, and I'm weird with it. I bring my knees together and I lean forward. I feel like if I can lean forward, I have more control of the weight and I can handle it more and I can get a better stretch and a better squeeze. Like at the end, like right here, you're trying to squeeze your chest together to get like a contraction. And a lot of people confuse the thought that they need like a lot of weight to be able to get a good squeeze and contraction, but realistically, you have to use other muscles to make that happen. So just using your smaller, lighter weight and just trying to get a higher rep count, which would, hit hypertrophy, that's just going to give you way better results. I'm not even counting right now, too. That's another thing. Like, if you've been doing it long enough, you just kind of go until you feel that fatigue, you feel that pump. And me personally, I don't go to failure while I'm warming up. I try to save that for the last couple sets. So I feel like if I go to a failure right away, it just makes the rest of the workout so much harder. So I like to get that nice squeeze, contractions, and keep it going. Again, if you don't mind, you could go over in the description to Nick the Natty, subscribe to that channel. Once I get enough subscribers, that's where I'm going to be going live for these fitness videos. This is a fishing channel, so I know it's a little counterintuitive to do it this way, but trying to get the algorithm just to play my videos has been a struggle. We all know it though. All right, I like to hang a little bit in between, let those joints stretch out a little bit, let them hang a little bit. And I think for men, especially, the upper back and shoulders, besides legs, everybody slacks on legs. The upper shoulders and upper back, I feel like, are slacked on a lot. There's a lot of guys that just get in there to the gym and all they want to do is curl, get big arms, and bench press. And bench press is great. Don't get me wrong. Ooh, I'll lose the camera now. Sorry, my mount isn't really made to hold the microphone port. Also, I feel like is going to want to fall over. Anyways, but bench press is great too. I love the bench press. And what's important with the bench press is to really get your shoulders, like you got to kind of like almost walk them in a little bit, but you really want them tight and in. So when you're dealing with the weight, and this isn't a lot of weight, I got some shoulder injuries, so I don't do heavy weight with the bench press hardly ever, but you want to get them nice and tight in there. So that way, whenever you're lifting, it just feels comfortable. You don't feel it on your joints. You don't feel it on the tendons. It's just straight up your back and your chest. It's important. Breathe. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. All right, there we go. Again, not going too heavy on weight. That's like the biggest mistake. Ego lifting. You don't need to do that, right? Ego lifting is like probably the biggest reason people get injured. For me, I'm a mover. I move furniture for a living. So a lot of times what jacks me up is someone has way too heavy a couch, way too many stairs. And, you got to get that couch in that living room. So, tweaking something, got some spasms in my neck, things like that. So that's another thing that keeps me from lifting really heavy. But I've learned that you don't need to lift heavy to get progress, get results. So I need to grab some water. Give me 2 seconds. probably still hear me though. I got a microphone on me. I keep forgetting I do. All right, got the water, got the coffee. As far as pre-workout goes, I've never used pre-workout. I've never taken a single scoop of pre-workout. It's always just been black coffee with espresso. And it gets me jacked up plenty. My biggest issue too, I do not drink enough water at all, ever. So that's actually been a big goal for me this year, is to make sure I'm drinking like at least a half a gallon, if not a gallon of water a day. Because I've heard that that's another thing that gets us injured, is whenever you don't have the proper amount of hydration in your muscles, your joints, your tendons, things like that, they are weaker, they're more brittle, and you're more susceptible to injury. So, and also just for gaining muscle, lean muscle mass, and for strength. If your muscles are not hydrated, again, if you don't have enough carbohydrates in your body to help support that water in those muscles, you're gonna be feeling it. And I can honestly attest to that. I can't tell you how much harder it is to work out dehydrated and fatigued than it is to work out fully hydrated, carb loaded, ready to go. And I feel like you look better too. All right, overhead presses. Let me get out of the way of this fan though. This is like a 12-pound bar with two 10-pound weights. And again, I got a bad neck. So what do? We lift lighter. We go higher in rep. And form is so important, especially once you start dealing with injuries. Like for me, the doctor says I have the neck of a 65-year-old. No, it doesn't look that way. But man, some days it feels that way. So it is important to use really good form and not overdo it with weights. Any of you got injuries? So what's that on? I have a question. Do you think that lifting to failure is better than lifting till you get the reps you want in? So yes, lifting. Well, so the goal is to hit failure, and also with that, the goal is to hit hypertrophy, and that's anywhere between the 12 and 18 rep range, and that's going to stimulate muscle growth. Hitting the actual reps you're trying to go for is just going to be a personal thing for you. But when you get to failure, that tells your body's muscles, hey, we've got to grow. This was too hard for us. We couldn't even accomplish what we tried to do. We failed. Like that. That's just your body's not literally saying that, obviously, bear with me. But so that's the whole point. When your body hits failure, it triggers something in your body to say, hey, we need to grow. The other half of that equation, though, is if you're not getting enough lean, like protein in, and most people know this these days, but it's about 1 gram per pound of body weight. So for me, I'm 150 pounds. So for me to grow muscle, along with stimulating the muscle growth, I've got to also get in 150 grams of protein a day. And yeah, I'm 150. I'm pretty light. I'm 5'9". But other than that, that's the main thing. And that's where I struggle with is I don't get enough protein in. I just don't have that appetite. And it's a big problem for me. So I do try as best as I can to get the protein in. Sorry, not to veer off from your question though. Definitely just want to get fatigue. Whatever you're doing, make sure it's a high enough weight where around from 12 to 20 reps, you're getting to that failure point. If you're doing like 3 to 5 reps and you're hitting failure, the weight's too heavy. And I promise you, your joints aren't liking it, your tendons aren't liking it. So you definitely want to focus on hitting a higher rep range with a weight that feels good. Like it should feel good to on your tendons and your muscles. Like if you're lifting it and you're like, okay, I've got this weight, no problem, but you feel like a twinge or pain in your shoulder while you're doing it, drop the weight a little bit. Also focus on your form. That might be part of it as well. So, but the biggest thing is consistency. Honestly, if you just go to the gym and you're consistent, you get in there at least 4 or 5 times a week. I mean, any reasonable goal, even 1 time a week, is still something consistent. So I really think that's important. Just make sure that you're actually getting in there and consistently doing the workouts. From there, you'll start to notice what works and what doesn't work. One thing that I know is I've been training so long. I've been training for 5 years now, consistently, like with weight training. But I'm ex-Army, and I've been technically training my whole life, doing calisthenics, push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups, running, things like that. It wasn't until it was about a year before COVID. It had nothing to do with COVID why I started training. So it was just kind of ironic that I actually started training consistently with gym equipment. And I was going to go for a bodybuilding competition. But I was naive back then. I didn't realize what it took to be a bodybuilder. It's a really unhealthy, it's a really, really unhealthy sport. And I'm just not okay with steroids. Back then, I thought about it. I actually had questions like, maybe this is how I need to gain muscle. And after doing enough research, I mean, years of research, everything always led back to no, horrible idea. One, the health, issues, the other thing, like you have to be on it for life, things like that. So with training, you come in and once you've been, this is what the point I was trying to get to. Once you've been training long enough, you'll notice that you don't really get sore. And Arnold Schwarzenegger said something like, and he's a great tool to use if you go back and look at some of his training. I mean, the man's a beast. But you say you got to trick the muscles basically. And for me, I noticed that I'm doing something right is when I feel myself getting sore now. Like if I do an exercise and the next day I'm like, oh man, I'm a little sore. I'm like, that tells me I'm going to get some growth. And that's on the back end of training for years and years and years consistently. You'll start to struggle. You notice you don't get sore and it's frustrating. So when you start to change it up a little bit, work on your form a little bit, try new things. And again, watching people that are doing it, that are farther along in their journey than you is the best way. You'll notice that you'll find the road you need to get results whenever you're finding yourself, you're tapping out a little bit. And when you do start to plateau, I'll tell you, that's when you really start questioning, should I do some gear? Should I do this? Should I do that? I've even went as far as finding somebody that had some. And he sent me his whole menu. And as I just looked at it, I was just like, oh my God, no, I can't do this. And I shoved it away. And again, I don't know, I'm getting a little lost right now, but the biggest thing is you just got to stay focused. You got to train until you do hit failure. That's the only way you're going to grow. Now, you're going to get what they call newbie gains. If you're just hitting the gym consistently at all, you're going to get some gains. But eventually it's going to die out. And one of the biggest things, though, diet. Diet's the most important thing. And genetics play a huge part. And I'll be the first person to tell you, I am horrible about my diet. I ate like half a cake last night. The only thing that I have going for me is I do a lot of cardio. I run a lot. And other than that, though, diet, I would be a lot farther along if I focused on my diet more. So. All right, what's next? Oh, you know what I want to do? I want to do some curls. Got 30s right here. Nope, that's it. I grabbed a 30 and a 40. I'm tripping. All right. Another thing is guys get in the gym and they're just like, all right, I just want to curl. And you'll see them every day in there. Curling, hitting chest. Curling, hitting chest. And that's one thing you want to do is you want to balance out the body parts. Like, who said it? There's a lot of people like the easy muscles. The easy muscles they grow easy. There's muscles that like your chest and your arms. Those are easy muscles. Legs, people don't like legs because you do legs and then you're sore. It's hard to walk around. You're wearing pants. People don't see them as much. So that's one thing that stops people from really getting to where they want to be is they focus on 2 or 3 workouts when you really, really got to get into the auxiliary movements. And you don't really start to want those until you have been training consistently and you start to see some plateaus where you're not getting certain results that you thought you'd be getting. And that's like an auxiliary movement to me is like right here. The cable flies. Let me down the weight a little bit. When you're doing the reverse, like this is what I consider an auxiliary movement because you're only targeting your back, your upper back, specifically your shoulders and your traps. And you're getting your lats as well a little bit. And you can, and if you really want to hit chest too, you can come in forward like this, kind of lean back a little bit, and then just come straight back like this. And now you're hitting the inside of your chest and the outside of your chest. And again, it may take some time, but just getting that mind-muscle connection, you'll really start to notice exactly what you're targeting. And it took me about 2-3 years training before I actually started to notice the mind muscle connection. And the first person that I learned that from was another actually popular YouTuber, Jeff Nippard. He's the one that talked a lot about the mind muscle connection. And you hear a lot of other people, but it's in the science-based lifters kind of world, the mind muscle connection. But it's huge. Once you get it, you're like, oh, okay, I can literally feel just my rear delt right here getting stimulated. And you'll feel other little muscle groups, but you'll know that you're just hitting and targeting exactly what you want. Whew, I don't want to talk this much. All right, what's next? More bench press? Why not? More bench press. Oh, I worked out yesterday as well, so really not trying to take it too hard. The biggest thing I try to hit every day, though, is to run at least a mile or two. Hit that cardio. It's kind of a hack. Not really a hack, but you know what I'm saying. It's a good way to stay somewhat lean. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. See, again, between that 12 and 20 rep range, not too heavy. I could go a little harder, but I start to feel it in my joints a little bit. So once I feel it there, that's when I'm like, all right, rack it. All right. Well, you have to go. I have to go. You have a good day. Hey, Brother Owen, you have a good day as well. Thanks for stopping in. Appreciate the questions. Again, I know this is a fishing channel, so if you don't mind, in the description, Nick the Natty, hop over there. Hit me with a subscribe, like, follow, whatever it's called. It would help greatly. So I cannot go live and do this on that channel until I hit 50 subscribers. And I don't know any other way other than to go live on this channel. And I'm sorry I haven't been putting out fishing content lately. I just moved to Florida. The weather's crazy. I tried fishing the other day for the first time. Over off the pier. What is it? Skyway Bitch. I didn't mean to cuss. The Skyway Bridge Pier in here in I think that's St. Petersburg, Florida, technically. Anyways, fishing was ass. I saw one fish come up the whole time. The water was like 12 feet deep. So that was no good. On the 17th, though, I am heading out on a 12-hour fishing charter in the Gulf of Mexico, America, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Same. And we're going to be catching some fish. So definitely want to see you there. I'll be going live there as well. I think I'll hit, 1 or 2 more sets, and I'm going to cut it with this live. But I appreciate you all that came through a lot. Again, I know it ain't fishing content, so apologize. I do what I got to do, though. All right. So 60 pounds. It's 120. See, nothing too crazy. Oh, lets me adjust the camera. And yes, I train legs a lot. The only reason that I train them less than other body parts is because as a mover, I have the same amount of weight. Sometimes it feels off. As a mover, I'm walking furniture upstairs all day long. My legs are flying. My genetics complement my legs as well. So. And for recovery, man, make sure you're stretching and working on mobility. Big time. It's super important. And I didn't start implementing stretching and mobility training until like 2 years ago. So the first 3 years, I was just rocking weights. And at first I had a lower back injury that I thought was like a groin injury. And it took like 7 months and multiple MRIs to realize it was my lower back. And it's just lower back degeneration. But with physical therapy for it, started doing a lot of movement and stretching and mobility training. And I want to say I healed 90% from that injury. So most people don't heal from, degeneration of bones. So you can't fully heal, but because of the remedial action I took, I recovered about 95%. Same with my neck. I have degeneration in basically every single one of my vertebrae in my neck. And so it takes a lot of mobility training. I literally can't even feel my thumbs. On a good day, it's like I start to feel like I can feel them again. But so lifting weight, you think isn't ideal, but I always feel better after I've lifted weight, unless it was too much weight and moving the weight in the wrong direction. There are certain movements that really hurt, or spasms and everything like that. But other than that, the training, the mobility training, and just being smart about what I lift has absolutely helped my injuries on so many different levels. So I can't stress it enough. Physical therapy is the number one road to recovery for almost every kind of injury. Surgery should always be on the back burner, the very last thing you do. I've had one friend have somewhat positive recovery from a back surgery, and it's only from him being in the military for 15 plus years and then going and doing a lot of CrossFit and not working on. He never really did a lot of mobility training and things like that, and the injury just got so exasperated, however that word goes. You know what I'm trying to say. It got so bad he had to do surgery, and he is walking better now. So won't say it never works, but it hardly ever works. So mobility all day. Other than that, stay up, train hard, and love yourself, man. Have a good day. Cheers.